The air inside the courthouse feels unnaturally heavy, like everyone stepped into a room where the truth itself is waiting to strike. The lights above flicker for a split second, humming softly, casting long shadows across wooden benches filled with people who came hoping, maybe even craving, to witness the destruction of the Brown family's carefully polished image. Cody sits in the front row, stiff as a statue, arms crossing and uncrossing as he tries to maintain a steady breath. His face is pulled tight, like someone holding in a scream. But his eyes betray him. They're restless, angry, terrified. He keeps glancing toward the courtroom doors, praying to see a flash of long brown hair and teary eyes rushing toward him. Robin is late, and the judge, she's not the kind of woman who tolerates late. "Mr. Brown," she says sharply, without looking up from her thick file, "this hearing begins now. Your wife can enter when she arrives." The way she says wife tells the whole room what she really thinks about this man's complicated family web. Cody forces a smile, but it cracks immediately. "Yes, Your Honor, he's losing control, and he knows full well." Across from him, Mary sits upright, her hands folded neatly, her hair pinned back in a way that makes her look both composed and terrifyingly determined. Her eyes stay focused on the judge. Not on Cody, not on the spectators, only the judge. Because today, she isn't here as Cody's silent, loyal, forgotten wife. Today, she stands as someone who finally has proof. The judge flips to the first page of the case. This hearing involves allegations of emotional manipulation, financial misconduct, and disputed parentage. The words ripple through the room. Christine's breath catches. Janelle's eyes widen. A murmur spreads across the seats, like a gust of wind. But Cody, his shoulders drop a fraction, because those two words, disputed parentage, carry a truth he hoped would stay buried under years of silence, guilt, and Robin's tears. The judge nods towards Mary. "You may proceed." Mary rises, slow and steady, and the entire room seems to lean toward her, like she's gravity itself. "I'm not here to relive every wound," she starts softly, "but I am here to make sure the truth finally has a voice." Her voice changes, not loud, but keen, so keen as the breaking of ice. "For years, I stayed silent. For years, I accepted blame that wasn't mine. I watched the family I helped build turn into something unrecognizable." Her hands tremble, just a little, but she doesn't hide it. She lets everyone see her shaking, because the truth shakes too. "I was told my feelings were overreactions. My suspicions, jealousy. My questions, disrespect." She raises her chin. "But the real disrespect was the lie I discovered." Cody suddenly stands. This is a stunt. She's twisting things. "Sit down," the judge warns. He does, but unwillingly, and Mary continues without even a look in his direction. She holds up the sealed envelope, the one she came in with, the one that almost squished Cody when he saw it. "I didn't go looking for this," she says, "but I found it. And once I found it, there was no way to ignore what it meant." Her voice drops to a whisper, almost. "A DNA test doesn't lie." Gasps ripple through the benches. Christine leans forwards, her face pale. Janelle covers her mouth. Even the bailiff looks around uncomfortably. But Mary doesn't stop. She takes the courtroom back to the night everything changed. The snowy evening at the cul-de-sac. The cold air. The dead silence. The faint glow from Cody and Robin's house. Her footsteps crunching in the snow as she walked closer. drawn by something she couldn't yet explain. She describes hearing whispers, hushed, urgent, Robin's crying, Cody pacing, her own name spoken in a tone she didn't recognize anymore. "I thought they were worried for me," she says, "but they were worried I'd find out." Her voice cracks, not from weakness, but from the weight of remembering how it felt to be betrayed by the people she had loved most. Cody, unable to help himself, slams his palm on the table. "You don't know what you heard. You never understand context." "Enough," snaps the judge. Mary doesn't look at him. She doesn't have to. He's already falling apart. "You told me I was paranoid," Mary says calmly. "You said I was imagining things, while all along, you and Robin were hiding this." She raises the envelope higher. The judge leans forward. "Ms. Brown, what is inside of that envelope?" Before she can answer, the courtroom doors burst open. Robin stumbles in, breathless, mascara streaking down her cheeks. People turn, whisper, stare. There's something wrong, more wrong than usual. Relief lights up Cody's face, then darkens almost in an instant. Because Robin doesn't walk to him, she does not take her place beside him. She walks directly up to Mary. Her steps are shaky, her eyes red and swollen. She sits down next to Mary, their shoulders almost touching. The courtroom erupts into gasps. Cody's mouth falls open. "Robin, what are you doing? Come here." She completely avoids his gaze. Her hands tremble as she reaches into her purse and pulls out another envelope, crumpled, ripped at the corner, one that looks like she tried to destroy it. She sets it beside Mary's. "Mary isn't lying," she whispers, loud enough for the whole room to hear. "You all need to know the truth." The judge raises her hand to silence the chaos. "Mrs. Brown, you're late and making a commotion. Explain yourself." Robin keeps her gaze firmly forward, refusing even to glance at Cody. I tried to hide it," she says through trembling lips, "but I can't anymore. Not after what I found out." Cody's face goes red, rage, fear, disbelief, all twisting together. "Halt! Robin, consider what thou dost." But she shakes her head. "I've been thinking for months," she says, "and I can't lie anymore." Her voice trembles. Mary was right all along. The judge leans forward, squinting. "Ladies, I want both of you to open the envelopes." Slowly, Mary exhales. Robin swallows hard. The room falls silent. Not one cough, nary a whisper, not a single shift of movement. Because whatever's in those envelopes, ready to blow up everything the world thinks it knows about the Browns. The moment the judge orders the envelopes opened, a chill sweeps across the room. It's like the walls themselves sense the shift, like the truth trapped inside those thin pieces of paper is powerful enough to change the temperature. Mary's fingers rest on the seal of her envelope, firm yet strained. Robin, beside her, is trembling so hard that the papers in her lap rustle like dry leaves. And across the room, Cody watches with a panic he can't disguise. His jaw clenches and unclenches, his hands folding into fists like he's holding on to the last pieces of control. But the truth does not wait, and it definitely doesn't bargain. Mary breaks the seal first. A soft tearing sound echoes, painfully loud within the silence. Robin closes her eyes as Mary unfolds the paper, slowly, deliberately, as though every crease contains another betrayal. The judge hunches forward. "Read it, Miss Brown." But Mary's eyes don't move at first. They stay frozen on a single line in the middle of the page, her breath caught in her chest. Her face doesn't show shock. No, it shows confirmation. This was the truth she expected, the truth she feared, the truth she knew Cody would never admit voluntarily. Robin, finally gathers the courage to open her envelope as well. Her hands shake violently, but she forces herself to read. And when she does, her lips form a single word, one she doesn't dare speak. No. Christine and Janelle exchange a glance of gut-deep dread. The audience fidgets and starts whispering nervously. Cody stands up abruptly. "Judge, this is ridiculous. These tests, these papers, they're being used to twist everything. It's manipulation." The judge bangs her gavel. "Sit down, Mr. Brown." He does. Barely. Mary finally speaks. "This DNA test proves that one of the children I helped raise, one I loved for years, is not Cody's biological child." A wave of gasps sweeps the ring. But Mary is far from finished. She lifts the paper higher, the words shaking in her hand. "And this test was taken years ago. Years it was hidden from the rest of us." Cody's face drains of color. This is no longer a rumor he can dismiss. No longer a private secret he and Robin can bury with excuses. This is evidence. Cold, hard, unforgiving. Robin covers her face with her hands, breathing shakily. "I didn't know how to tell them," she whispers. "I didn't know how to tell any of you." Christine rises from her seat, voice shaking. "Tell us what, Robin? That Cody isn't the father of one of your kids? That you hid that from the entire family?" Robin's shoulders shake. "I didn't want to break the family apart." "You did that," Christine snaps, slapping her hand onto the table. The judge raises a hand. "Order. Let Mrs. Brown explain." Robin wipes tears, but doesn't look at Cody. "Never once." "The test was done before we joined the family," she says quietly. "Before the show, before everything. I hoped the results were wrong. And Cody said it didn't matter. He said he'd raise the child as his own. So we kept it secret. And you didn't think we deserved to know?" Janelle's voice cracks, hurt layered with betrayal. Robin's eyes fill again. "I was scared. I didn't want you to push us away." Mary regards her, not with anger, but with an exhaustion that runs decades deep. "But you pushed us away. Robin, every time we questioned you, every time we doubted what we saw, you called us jealous. You called us bitter." Robin blinks, her face flooding with guilt. Cody tries again to control the situation. He stands, palms raised. "This isn't betrayal. This is old history. I made a choice." "No," Mary interrupts. "You made a secret." The judge taps her pen. "I need clarity. Mrs. Brown, are you saying Mr. Brown knowingly withheld the biological parentage of a child from the rest of the family?" Robin nods slowly. "And Mr. Brown?" The judge continues. "Did you intentionally hide this information?" Cody swallows. He opens his mouth, then closes it again. There is nothing he could have said that wouldn't have implicated him in some manner. The silence speaks for itself in his behalf. Christine folds heavily down, with tears filling her eyes. "You let us fight each other for years," she says quietly. "You let us blame ourselves, blame Mary, blame every woman in this family, while you two were hiding the biggest truth of all." Janelle whispers, "We defended you, Cody. We defended you when the world judged us. And this is what you were protecting?" But Cody shakes his head. "You don't understand. I did it to protect the kids. They didn't need the world questioning their identity." "Then why?" Mary says coldly, pointing to the envelope. "Was there a second test done last year?" Again, the courtroom erupts. Everybody starts talking, all at once. Robin freezes immediately. Her hands clutch the crumpled envelope like it's the only thing keeping her upright. And Cody's face. Oh, his face tells it all. He didn't know she did another test. Not until this second envelope showed up. Mary's voice goes dangerous soft. Robin took another test because she had doubts. Because she wasn't sure anymore what was true and what was the story you both told yourselves for comfort. Robin nods through tears. I needed to know. And the results matched the first test exactly. Cody steps back like he's been hit. You did this behind my back? Robin trembles, but lifts her chin. What choice did I have? You were lying to me too. Pristine actually covers her mouth in surprise, because at that moment everyone realized this wasn't Mary versus Cody. This wasn't wives versus each other. This was the truth ripping through every relationship it touched. The judge clears her throat. I gotta know what the timeline is. Which of you knew these results and when? Mary comes forward. Cody knew before the family was formed. Robin knew shortly after. And I found out 6 months ago. 6 months? Cody snarls. And you didn't say anything? Mary's response is ice. I wanted to confirm everything before I spoke. Unlike you, I didn't weaponize secrets. And then the judge asks the one question nobody expected. Mrs. Brown, she says to Robin, who is the biological father? Robin breaks. She covers her face and sobs. I don't know. I don't know. It was before I married Cody. Before everything. I didn't think it mattered. Cody erupts. So, that's why you didn't want the test. That's why you begged me to forget it. Robin shrinks. And then, Mary speaks with a calmness that slices deeper than shouting ever can. This isn't about shame. This isn't about blame. This is about honesty. Something this family lost a long time ago. The judge leans back. Well, honesty is what we're going to get, because I am ordering full disclosure from every party. Gasps, shock, tension thick enough to become almost a physical weight. And just when it feels like the room cannot hold any more pressure, Robin speaks something so soft, so bare, only Mary could hear. Mary's eyes widen. She turns slowly to Robin, then to Cody. You gotta say it, Mary whispers. Robin shakes her head violently. I can't. But Mary insists, you have to. And everyone stares, breath frozen, waiting for whatever truth is trembling on Robin's lips. I didn't sleep the night my parents' refusal became official. The doctor's words echoed in my mind like a ticking clock. Without the surgery, the damage will worsen. We're running out of time. Time. Well, that was the part nobody except me had heard. The next morning, my house felt different, colder, heavier, almost like it knew something terrible was unfolding inside it. My parents sat at the dining table, whispering. Their voices were sharp, even when low, like knives being sharpened. I didn't need to hear the words to know they were talking about me. I hovered in the hallway, watching them like a ghost, watching its own family. My father rubbed his temples. My mother wiped her eyes. Neither of them had slept either. But even now, even in their exhaustion, there was no sign they were changing their minds. My mother finally appeared to notice me, but forced an insincere smile that didn't reach her eyes. Breakfast? She asked. I shook my head. I need to talk with you two. My father straightened. The same sternness from before crept into his voice. If this is about surgery, it is, I interrupted. Because this isn't just about pain, or doctors, or money. This is my life, my future. Their silence was a wall, impossible to climb. I don't want to fight, I said, voice shaking. But I can't pretend everything's fine. I can't. My mother's chin trembled, but she looked away. My father simply exhaled, tired and frustrated. We have reached our decision, he said. Then something inside me snapped. Not anger, not mutiny. It was something quieter, heavier, like a rope finally breaking under weight it could no longer hold. Then I'll make mine, I whispered. They both looked up sharply, but before they could respond, I walked out. At school, I couldn't focus. Every sound was too loud, every hallway too bright. People kept asking if I was okay, and I kept lying. But during the last class of the day, the pressure finally burst. The teacher asked me a simple question, something about history, and I froze. My heart pounded in my ears. My throat tightened, and all at once, everything rushed out. Fear, frustration, helplessness. "I can't do this," I whispered. Then I just got up and walked out of the room. I was not being melodramatic. All I needed was some air, space. Except the school counselor saw me leave and called my name. When I didn't answer, she followed me. And when she finally caught up, she saw the tears I had tried so hard to hide. "What happened?" she asked softly. And for the first time in weeks, I told the truth. Everything. The diagnosis, the surgery, my parents' denial, the deadline, the fear. When I finished, she didn't say anything, but her eyes widened slightly, and something changed in her expression, something like alarm. "You should have told me sooner," she whispered. "I didn't think it mattered," I mumbled. "Oh, it matters," she said with firmness. She walked me straight to the principal's office. The principal wasn't angry. He wasn't disappointed. He was concerned, intensely concerned. He said after hearing everything, "This is serious. Your health comes into question." "Tell that to my parents," I mumbled. He looked at me carefully. "Maybe someone else needs to tell them." Before I could ask what he meant, he picked up his phone and dialed. But it wasn't my parents he called. It was someone else. Someone I'd never met. That someone became the most unexpected person in my life. Child Protective Services. My heart dropped. "What are you doing?" I whispered, panic rising. "It's okay," the counselor said, resting a hand on my shoulder. "You're not in trouble. We're trying to help you." "But my parents." "We'll talk to them," the principal said. "But we need to make sure you're safe. Medical neglect is a real concern." My stomach twisted. Even though I understood their reasoning, this felt too big, too sudden, too terrifying. Within the hour, a caseworker arrived. She reviewed the doctor's notes, the timeline, everything. Everything. Her face hardened as she read. "This surgery isn't optional," she said. "It's necessary. Delaying it puts the child at risk." My parents arrived soon after. They were furious. At the school, at the accusation, at the entire idea that they might be in the wrong. "My boy, my choices," my father bellowed. "This is our family." The caseworker replied calmly but firmly, "And their health is our responsibility when it's being jeopardized." The argument grew louder. Voices escalated. My mother cried. My father shouted. I sat in the corner, feeling like the room was spinning around me. Then the caseworker turned to me. "You're going to stay with a temporary guardian," she said gently. "Just until we finish investigating." My mother gasped. "No, you can't take our child." But it was a decision already made. I was expecting a stranger. Some government-assigned foster parent. Someone who didn't know me and wouldn't care. So when the caseworker said, "Your guardian has already agreed. They're on their way," I braced myself. Then the door opened. My world tipped over. Standing there, looking equally shocked and confused, was Mr. Rowan, my math teacher. Yes, my strict, quietly intense, always seemed disappointed in my homework math teacher. He blinked at me. I blinked back. "You?" I exclaimed, surprised. "Me," he replied, equally baffled. Apparently, my parents were furious. You can't give our child to a teacher. But the caseworker told her everything. He lived nearby. He had a clean record, he was willing, and most importantly, he had once been a medical advocate for his younger sister, who had undergone multiple surgeries growing up. He understood the stakes in a way my parents didn't. Still, I never would have guessed he'd step into something this big. For me. He knelt slightly, meeting my eyes. "You're safe," he said softly. "I'll make sure of it." Something in my chest loosened. For the first time in weeks, I believed it. His home was neat, quiet, warm, a stark contrast to the chaos I'd just left. He made tea, set out blankets, and gave me space without making me feel alone. When he finally sat opposite me, he didn't lecture me. He didn't pity me. He didn't act like he suddenly knew my life. All he asked was, "Do you want to talk?" The tears came before I could hold them back. Everything spilled out. Every fear. Every helpless night. Every moment I'd felt invisible in my own home. He didn't interrupt. Didn't judge. Didn't rush me. When I finally quieted, he spoke softly. "My sister wouldn't have survived if we hadn't fought for her. Sometimes parents don't understand the seriousness. Sometimes they rely too much on faith or hope. But you deserve help, real help, and I'll make sure you get it." His voice was steady, calm, safe, and unexpectedly comforting. I stared at him, still sniffling. "Why would you do all this for me?" He hesitated before answering. "Because someone once did it for my family. And because I don't want to watch another child suffer when I can do something about it." That night, for the first time in what felt like years, I slept without fear gnawing at my ribs. The next morning brought paperwork, meetings, calls, interviews. My parents were furious, trying everything to get me back. But the caseworker held firm. "The surgery is medically necessary," she repeated, "until we ensure the child will receive proper care. They remain under temporary guardianship." Mr. Rowan stayed by my side through every meeting. He never spoke over me. He only stepped in when I froze or needed clarity. And slowly, I began to realize something. He wasn't just a temporary guardian. He was becoming an anchor, a safe place, someone who saw me, not as a patient, not as a problem, not as a burden, but as a person who mattered. The next few days moved like slow-motion scenes in a movie. Moments stretched out. Voices echoing. Everything heavy, but strangely clear. Living with my temporary guardian, Mr. Rowan, felt surreal. I had sat in his math class for years without ever imagining I'd end up sleeping in his guest room, eating breakfast in his quiet kitchen, or hearing him say things like, "Your appointment is at 2 today. Don't worry, I'll be right there." He was steady, reliable, predictable in the best way possible, but outside his home, nothing was steady. The investigation against my parents was taking a pace, and every new development pulled me deeper into a reality I never expected. 2 days after I moved in, I had a follow-up appointment with the specialist. The room smelled like disinfectant and cold metal. Machines beeped softly. My heart thudded harder than all of them. The doctor scanned the newest test results with a serious expression. "There's progression," he said. "It's not drastic yet, but it confirms our concern. Waiting longer increases the risk of permanent damage." I swallowed hard, even though I already knew that. Hearing it again hit differently. "So, now what?" I asked. "We schedule surgery," said the doctor, "as soon as your guardian gives consent." I froze. My guardian, not my parents. As if reading my mind, the doctor continued gently. "That is no longer optional. That is time-sensitive." I glanced at Mr. Rowan. He didn't hesitate, didn't overthink, didn't look uncertain. "We'll sign whatever is needed," he said squarely. Those words should not have turned me emotional, yet they did. Because for the first time since my diagnosis, someone wasn't arguing, someone wasn't doubting, someone wasn't pretending everything was fine. Someone was fighting for me. But back home, things weren't calm. That evening my caseworker called with an update. She sounded tired. "Your parents have filed a challenge," she said. "They're claiming the school, the doctor, and your guardian overstepped." Of course they did. "What does that mean?" I asked. "It means there will be a hearing. A judge will decide whether you stay with your guardian or return home. Go home." Those words hit me harder than the diagnosis itself. Because going back meant no surgery. Going back signaled denial. Going back meant pain, physical and emotional. I set the phone down, my hands shaking. "What if the judge sends me back?" I whispered. Mr. Rowan didn't answer immediately. He sat down across from me, thinking carefully. "We prepare," he said finally. "We tell the truth, and I will testify." "You'd do that?" He raised an eyebrow. "I did not become your guardian just to quit halfway." His certainty wrapped around me like a blanket. But as the court date approached, anxiety still grew inside me like a storm cloud. 3 nights before the hearing, I walked past the dining room door and heard faint shuffling. Curious, I peeked in. Mr. Rowan sat at the table with a thick folder open in front of him. My file from the caseworker. Medical reports, school records, attendance notes, even old emails teachers had written about my symptoms before diagnosis. He was organizing them into categories, highlighting, tabbing, preparing not just as a guardian, but like a lawyer, getting ready to defend someone he cared about. He did not notice I was there at first. When he finally looked up, he gave a small smile. "Couldn't sleep either?" I stepped inside slowly. A lot of paperwork. It's everything the judge needs to understand the truth. His voice wasn't angry. It wasn't dramatic. It was focused, determined. I sat across from him. "You really think the judge is going to listen?" I asked softly. He nodded. "Judges listen to evidence, and we have plenty." "But my parents will be there," I said. "They'll try to twist things. They always do." He stopped, then said something I'll never forget. "Your parents love you. I believe that. But love isn't enough when a child's health is at stake. The judge will see that." I looked down at the table. "It's weird hearing you defend them." "I'm not defending the decision they made," he said quietly. "I'm acknowledging they're human, but humans make mistakes, big ones." His honesty made me trust him even more. The night before the hearing, something happened that made everything worse. My mother called. Her number registered, and I shook as I answered. "Please come home," she said immediately. Her voice was choked with tears. "This is tearing us apart. We didn't mean to hurt you. Please. We're your parents. We love you." I shut my eyes. Her crying shook me in ways I was unprepared for. "Mom," I whispered, "I love you, but I have to have the surgery." There was silence. Then a whisper. "God will heal you, not the doctors." My chest tightened. "Mom, please, I'm getting worse." Her voice shifted, fear turning to desperation. "If you testify against us tomorrow, your father says he'll never forgive you." My breath caught. It felt like the rug was pulled from beneath my feet. "I'm not testifying against you," I said, my voice cracking. "I'm just telling the truth." But she didn't hear me, or didn't want to. "We're your family," she cried. "Choose us." The call was cut. I stood frozen, phone in my hand, heart pounding painfully. "Choose us." These words circled in my head, like some kind of threat cloaked in love. I sank onto the couch, overwhelmed. When Mr. Rowan found me, he didn't ask what happened. One look at my face, and he just sat beside me, without probing, not lecturing, without pressure. I waited a minute, then spoke. "They want me to choose." "And what do you want?" he asked softly. "I want to live," I whispered. His jaw set tight, but not in anger at me, in a fierce protective way. "Then we fight for that." The courthouse felt cold, empty, echoing with footsteps and tension. My parents were already there when we arrived. My mother looked devastated, makeup smudged, eyes red. My father looked rigid, jaw clenched, suit too tight, anger simmering under the surface. He wouldn't even look at me. My stomach wrenched painfully. When the hearing began, everything happened quickly. The caseworker spoke first, then the doctor, then the school counselor. Each of them explained the urgency, the risk, the danger of waiting. My parents debated with so much passion. They talked about faith, regarding fear, about distrust in the medical system. But when the judge asked, "Do you understand your child's life could be in jeopardy?" my father paused, just long enough to show doubt. Then he said, "Our beliefs matter more." The courtroom fell silent. That sentence, in that moment, changed everything. When the judge asked if I wanted to speak, my whole body shook. But I stood. My voice cracked at first. I said I was afraid. Scared of surgery. Scared of hurting my parents. Afraid to choose wrong. But then, I said the words that had been burning in my chest for weeks. I want to live. And if going home means losing that chance, then I can't go home. Not yet. At last, my father turned to me. Not with anger. Not with disappointment. With something else. Something heavy, pained, human. My mother sobbed quietly into her hands. The judge didn't take long. With the evidence presented, and based on the immediate medical necessity, guardianship will remain with Mr. Rowan until after surgery and full recovery. My breath rushed out in a shaky exhale. I had won. No, my life had won. But the victory didn't feel like celebration. It felt like surviving a storm that left everything in ruins. My parents left the courtroom without a word. I watched them go, a part of me breaking, but another part healing. Because, for the first time in my life, I had chosen myself, and someone unexpected had chosen to stand beside me. The morning of the surgery didn't feel real. Hospitals always smell the same: sharp disinfectant, cold air, faint latex gloves, and something sterile that makes your chest tighten. But that morning, everything was amplified. Sounds were louder, lights brighter, my heartbeat faster. I sat on the hospital bed, gown tied loosely around my back, fingers fidgeting with the edges. Nurses moved around me with practiced calm, attaching monitors, checking vitals, adjusting IV lines. The steady beeping of the heart monitor felt like a countdown. And through all that, Mr. Rowan was always by my side. He sat in the corner chair, hands clasped, leg bouncing slightly, a rare sign he was nervous too. But he still smiled whenever our eyes met. "You're doing brilliantly," he said softly. "I feel like I'm going to throw up," I admitted. "That's not good, still good," he said quietly. A nurse came forward. "We'll take you in a few minutes." She gave me a reassuring smile. "You're in good hands. This procedure saves lives every day." I nodded, but my stomach twisted painfully. Because this wasn't just a procedure. This was the moment everything my parents feared and everything I desperately needed collided. A soft knock interrupted the silence. A nurse peered into the room. "There are two here to see you." My breath caught. I didn't have to ask who. My parents. I looked at Mr. Rowan. He didn't pressure me, didn't guide me, just waited for me to choose. "Let them in," I whispered. My mother entered first, her steps hesitant, eyes already filled with tears. My father followed, slower, stiffer, face unreadable. Instantly, the air shifted. My mother hurriedly came to me. "Oh, sweetheart, you look so small." Her voice cracked. "I'm so sorry." My throat constricted, not from pain, only from the way she said it. From the first apology I'd heard in months. My father stood at the foot of the bed, hands in his pockets, shoulders heavy, as if something inside him was finally breaking. I steeled myself. Was this another emotive trap? Was this his another plea to stop the surgery? Was this another guilt trip wrapped in love? But instead, my father spoke in a voice I barely knew. "I was wrong," he said succinctly. These words hit me harder than anything else had. He swallowed hard. "I thought I was protecting you. I thought faith meant refusing fear." He looked down. "But I never thought saying no to fear could put your life in jeopardy." My mother nodded, and tears cascaded down her face. We didn't listen," she whispered. "We didn't hear you." The room blurs. My eyes stung. My breath shook. Because a part of me wanted this. Part of me had needed this. Part of me had waited for this moment for so long. But another part of me, the hurt part, the abandoned part, the scared part, did not know what to do with it. "I don't want to lose you," I whispered. My mother grasped my hand softly. "You won't. Not again. Not ever." My father stepped closer. His voice wasn't angry, or defensive, or dismissive. It was soft. "If you want, after the surgery, we'd like to try again," he said. "Not to control you, not to force anything. Just as your parents trying to learn to be better." A shaky breath escaped me. "I don't know if I'm ready," I said honestly. He nodded. "You don't have to be. Just know we're here." For the first time in months, I believed him. Before he left, he touched my cheek. "I'll be praying for you," she whispered. I nodded. "That's okay. And I'll be waiting," she added, her voice shaking. My father paused and then quietly added, "Be brave." Their steps receded. The door clicked. Silence. I stared at the spot where they had stood, feeling something inside me shift. Not forgiven yet. Not healing yet. But something like a bridge. An onset, a possibility. When the nurse returned, it felt like the world narrowed into two realities. One where I fought for myself, and one where people were finally fighting with me. As they began to wheel me toward the double doors of the operating wing, fear surged through me again. The hallway lights passed overhead like snapshots in rapid motion. Everything felt surreal. "Will you be here when I wake up?" I asked, turning to Mr. Rowan. He stepped beside the gurney. "I'll be in the waiting room the entire time." "You promise?" He laid a steady hand on the rail. "I promise." Those words grounded me more than the oxygen mask ever could. Just as the swinging doors closed behind me, I heard him call softly, "You're not alone." The operating room was colder than the hallway. Bright overhead lights glared down like small suns. Machines were lined up like quiet soldiers, waiting. He greeted me with a warm smile. "Deep breaths," he said, laying the mask over my face. The world tilted, blurring, slowing. Voices became echoes. Then nothing. Soft beeping. Dim the lights. A peculiar weightlessness. I blinked slowly, the ceiling coming into focus above me. My chest felt tight, but not painful. My mouth was dry, my throat scratchy from the breathing tube. A nurse was leaning over me. "You're awake." Surgery went very well. Relief washed through me, was so strong it felt like my whole body had sighed. Is he here? I rasped. She smiled. He never left. A moment later the door opened, and there he was. Mr. Rowan entered with the same calm presence he had carried since the beginning. But his eyes were tired, red-rimmed, relieved. "You made it," he exhaled. "You waited?" I whispered. "Of course I waited." He stepped closer, careful not to overpower me. "I'm proud of you," he said quietly. Something in me melted, something I had been holding together with fear and bravado for weeks. "Thank you," I whispered, tears welling up. "For everything." He shook his head gently. "No," he said. "You're the one who fought. You're the one who spoke up. You're the one who chose your future." His voice softened. I just held the door open. The next few days blurred into a gentle haze of recovery. Nurses checked my vitals. Doctors monitored my progress. And every day, without fail, my guardian showed up. Sometimes he brought books. Sometimes he brought puzzles. Sometimes he just sat with me in comfortable silence. My parents visited too. Their visits were awkward at first, tentative, quiet, filled with long pauses and soft apologies. But over time, something eased. Not fully healed, not fully restored, but no longer broken beyond repair. One afternoon, just a day before my discharge, my father said, "I want you to decide where you feel safest recovering, home or here." He didn't pressure. He didn't insist. He simply offered, "I just still need space." My mother nodded through tears, voice trembling. "We understand. We'll wait as long as you need." And for the first time, I believed them. When I returned to Mr. Rowan's house, it didn't feel temporary anymore. It felt safe, warm, peaceful, more like home than home had felt in years. That evening, he made soup, set the table, and said, "You don't owe anyone perfection. You don't owe anyone speed. Healing takes time, physically and emotionally." I looked around the kitchen, the quiet hum of the fridge, the soft lamplight, the chair he pulled out for me. "Thank you," I whispered, "for giving me a place to feel okay." He offered a small smile. "You gave yourself that. I just made room." And in that moment, I realized something. This wasn't the end of the story. This was the beginning of my life. A life where I chose my health, my voice, my future, and no matter what came next. I wasn't the same person who had sat in that doctor's office weeks ago. I wasn't powerless. I wasn't alone. I was becoming myself. Finally, fully, fearlessly.